APD killed young Scooter and they try to cover it up by saying he failed. See, we all need people like Future on our team. That man has resources, curiosity, and power.
And when they find the person that swatted young Scooter, they need to charge them with an M. Huh? And when they find the person that swatted young Scooter, they need to charge her with an M.
There was literally the house, literally the neighbors next door, the house of the address that I just gave you, the 273.
Rapper Young Scooter's son just dropped some bone-chilling claims about his dad's death. And it's flipping the whole story upside down. What he said? It's making folks question everything we thought we knew about this case. Word on the street is, young Scooter didn't just pass away. His son's hinting that it might have been a setup, and he's got the receipts to prove it.
This morning, we're staying on top of some big breaking news as rapper Young Scooter, whose real name is Kenneth Bailey, died last night. We confirmed this directly with the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office.
It's only been a few days since Scooter tragically lost his life, but whispers are already flying. And guess what? The streets ain't buying the official story. Way too many people are side-eyeing the fact that he died on his birthday. Like, for real.
There was no indication of anyone being shot. This appears that there was, when he fell, some type of fracture injuries to the leg, which caused the bleeding.
What are the chances of that? Some fans are saying the whole thing smells off. They're even throwing around words like sacrifice and pointing fingers at none other than Future Scooter's childhood friend and label boss. That's right. People are asking, did something go down behind the scenes? Why can't the cops find a single witness? Why is the whole investigation suddenly freezing up? It's almost like someone's making sure the truth never comes out.
The first being from the 200 block of William Nye Drive. In Zone 3, officers responded to a dispute with a weapon. It was advised in the call remarks that shots were fired and a female was dragged back into the location. Once officers arrived, they knocked on the door. A male opened the door and immediately shut the door on the officers. The officers then established a perimeter. During the process of establishing the perimeter, two males fled out of the rear of the house. One male returned back into the house. The other male jumped two fences as he was fleeing. When officers located him on the other side of the fence, he appeared to have suffered an injury to his leg. Officers rendered aid.
Could money be changing hands behind closed doors? Could this whole thing be getting swept under the rug while everyone's distracted? Let's get into it. Fans are still reeling after the heartbreaking loss of Atlanta rapper Young Scooter, who died on March 8th, 2025, during a mysterious encounter with police officers. Nobody saw this coming. He was in his prime, still grinding, still got dreams, and then boom, he's gone. What's even crazier? He turned 39 that very same day. That ain't just coincidence. That's got people talking.
And he was transported to Grady Hospital where he was pronounced deceased. That male is going to be a 39-year-old male out of Atlanta. Just to be very clear, the injury that was sustained was not via the officers on scene. It was when the male was fleeing.
How does someone so full of life just vanish like that? No warning, no answers, just questions that keep piling up.
So we were not able to locate a female. We ended up with two males and the decedent.
You said the dispute started in a car, a moving car?
No, outside of the residence.
And then a woman was drugged back into the...
That's what was reported. We have not been able to substantiate any of that, which is also a part of our investigation.
And then when he jumped over the fence for one victim, what wound did he shoot himself?
No, there was no indication of anyone being shot. This appears that there was, when he fell, some type of fracture injuries in the leg, which caused the bleeding.
And to clarify, this wasn't any involvement with the Atlanta police as far as...
There's no, in neither one of these cases were officers involved in
None of this is adding up, and internet detectives are already on the case. What they've been digging up, it's straight up chilling. The fact that young Scooter died on his birthday has fans spinning all kinds of wild theories about sacrifice and foul play. And now, boom, his son just jumped into the conversation, dropping even more explosive info about what really went down. With all this chaos online and the cops barely giving out any details, this whole thing is looking real shady.
There was the house, literally the neighbors next door, the house of the address that I just gave you, the 273. There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. There's like 7 guys that live in this house.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, what is my name?
Okay. Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch, and basically, like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They hold their guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over. If they was fighting over, that's what it sounded like.
People are connecting dots, and the picture they're painting ain't looking good. But before we dive deeper into all the creepy stuff, let's rewind a bit and talk about who young Scooter really was, and why his loss hit so hard in Atlanta's trap scene. Born Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey on March 28, 1986, in Walterboro, South Carolina, young Scooter came from humble beginnings. His family didn't have much, and he got pulled into the street life early on. When he was just 9 years old, his family packed up and moved to Kirkwood in East Atlanta, a place the locals call Little Mexico. Now, Little Mexico ain't just any neighborhood, it's one of the roughest spots in Atlanta, where most folks are living on the edge. The crime rate, sky high. The resources, almost non-existent. It's a place where the system forgot the people, but the culture thrived anyway.
It sounded like they were fighting over. And then they started. She had someone come over there, and they started. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing the area.
Or fire.
I would say 3. It was 3.
When did it happen?
It's happening now.
Okay.
So I believe the girl is hurt.
And they're
that's
coming from 273 William Nye Drive?
That's not, yes. And the girl is hurt because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Okay. Do you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, she's trying to get away, and they're holding her. She's being held hostage. Like, they brought her, the guy that was fighting her, she ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside. And then there was another commotion. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're at the door, literally fighting. She's trying to get out. He's refusing to let her out.
And even though Lil Mexico's been through the struggle, it birthed some of the biggest names in the game. Future, Gucci Mane, Doughboy, and of course, young Scooter. Scooter started rapping when he was just 8. That's right, he was spitting bars before he even touched down in Lil Mexico. By the time he was a teen, he was fully locked into the trap movement, grinding hard and making his name known in the city. Growing up in the middle of Atlanta's raw trap culture lit a fire in young Scooter. He started sharpening his rap skills heavy. But that same environment also pulled him deep into the streets. Things got real in 2008 when Scooter caught his first serious charge: trafficking. Yeah, it was a major one. That moment hit him hard, like a slap from life itself. Getting hit with charges like that, it shook him up. So Scooter switched gears. He put all that street energy into his music and made a plan to turn the pain into power. In 2011, he dropped his first mixtape, Plug Talkin'. It didn't blow up right away, but it made noise in the underground, enough to get eyes on him. And when real ones were listening, they knew he was next up. By the time he dropped his second tape, Scooter was already locking in features with heavy hitters, like Future, his childhood homie from Lil Mexico. That Future cosign? That wasn't just a friendly favor. That was a green light to the industry saying, Scooter's got next. But that was just the warm-up.
It's like 7 guys in the house. There's also a child in danger as well because she has a baby.
Then came 2013. Boom! Scooter unleashed Street Lottery, and that one hit different. That tape was the real breakout. Suddenly, the mainstream started paying attention. Big-time media like Spin named it Rap Release of the Week, and XXL couldn't stop talking about it, calling it one of the best mixtapes of January. Eric Deep from XXL didn't hold back either. He said Scooter was one of the hottest street rappers coming out of Atlanta, and pointed to tracks like Columbia and Street Lottery as proof the man had real heat. From there, it was all gas, no brakes. Young Scooter started working with legends, Rick Ross, Birdman, Lil Wayne, Gucci Mane. That's a serious climb for someone who came from the dirt, fighting every step of the way. Young Scooter beat the odds to get where he was. He was hotter than fire in a drought. Blogs like Hip Hop on Smash were saying the buzz around him was peaking like never before. Everybody wanted a piece of Scooter. But just when things were finally looking up, life threw a major curveball his way. In April 2013, Scooter got snatched up again, this time for a parole violation. And here's the wild part. He ended up in the same cell as Gucci Mane. That's right, Gucci got picked up just days after Scooter, and the two landed in the same spot, locked down together. Scooter did 6 months behind bars before getting released in October that same year. But even after that stint, trouble kept finding him. He had more run-ins with the law, but nobody was surprised. Scooter never faked the lifestyle. He lived it. His music reflected all of that. Heavily influenced by gang life and kingpin dreams, his lyrics were all about street hustle, money, women, and the trap grind. Scooter's sound came straight from the heart of the streets, soaked in the rawness of trap music. He had this crazy ability to freestyle whole tracks. No pen, no pad, just vibes. Just like Gucci Mane, Scooter made rapping off the dome his signature move. In a sit-down with Complex, he even said, "I don't really care what I say on a beat as long as it's about some money. When you try to think hard and write it out, that's when it's gonna be messed up." But behind the spotlight, Scooter was real private. Most people didn't even know he was a father. He had 2 sons and a daughter, all of them still young. That's what cuts the deepest. Now his kids gotta grow up without their dad. No more birthday hugs, no advice, no proud moments with pops watching from the crowd. When news broke that Scooter had passed, fans were stunned. It felt impossible. Just that morning he was alive, moving, doing his thing, and then gone. No warning, no explanation, just heartbreak. So here's how the whole tragic situation reportedly went down. According to the official reports, it all started with a 911 call. Somebody claimed they saw a woman at a known trap house who looked like she was being held against her will. Sounds serious, right? But here's the twist. When police pulled up to the spot, no woman, no signs of distress, nothing that looked like anyone was in danger at all. Even crazier, the caller said they heard gunshots. But again, cops found no bullet holes, no shells, no signs of any kind of shootout. That's when people started whispering. Was this whole thing a setup? Multiple sources are now saying whoever made that call knew exactly what they were doing. They created a fake emergency because saying a woman's life was in danger, that'll get the cops flying in quick. And once police got there, they didn't find any hostage, but they did find what they described as a full-blown trap house. And guess who was inside? According to the reports, young Scooter and another man were posted up inside. When they saw those flashing lights, both of them took off running. Now here's where things take a grim turn.
This is house, and they all have guns. You guys need to hurry and get here before she she doesn't make it.
Ma'am, we already have help organized for her. What's the phone number you're calling from? Exactly what happened?
There's a situation going on in this house. There's 7 guys that live here, and they're basically, I'm not sure if they're running some type of this individual. She's a 5'2", light-skinned female, black hair. She ran outside naked, bleeding from her face. She tried to get away. She was dragged back into the house, and they're holding her hostage, and then there was a baby involved. So this situation is really serious, and he's punching her. If you guys don't get her, she's going to be really hurt.
While trying to escape, Scooter allegedly jumped over 2 fences. But on the second one, something went horribly wrong. He either broke his leg or sliced it on a jagged piece of metal sticking out the top. The cut hit a major artery, and he started bleeding out fast. By the time police caught up with him, he was already in bad shape. Officers tried to give him help and rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late. He had lost too much blood, and just like that, he was gone. But here's the thing. Sources say there's evidence out there suggesting this wasn't just some tragic accident. Some people believe Scooter was set up to die, and that fake 911 call might have been the trap all along. Word started flying that young Scooter might have been shot by one of the officers chasing him, that they were the reason he bled out. But the Atlanta PD quickly stepped in, shutting that theory down. They dropped a statement saying there were no shots fired by police and claimed Scooter's death was just a tragic accident. Still, even with that statement out, folks aren't buying it. A lot of people think this whole situation was set up from the jump. And no matter how it ended, the goal was always the same. Young Scooter wasn't meant to make it out alive. Whether it was a setup, a mistake, or something darker, none of it sits right. And when you look at the details, there's plenty of red flags from the very beginning. Take the 911 call, for example. Police eventually released it to the public. The caller said there was a woman running around naked and bleeding, and even claimed she had a baby with her. That's what triggered the fast police response. But when the officers got there, no woman, no child, no blood, nothing. Now they're saying it's still under investigation, but at the moment, there's zero proof that any woman was ever in danger that day. She either vanished into thin air, never existed, or maybe slipped out while police were busy chasing Scooter and his associate. And now it gets even weirder. Cops are offering a $5,000 reward to anyone who can help identify this so-called mystery woman, or the person who made that 911 call. That's not something they do lightly. They clearly think there's more to this than what meets the eye. Here's the kicker. Sources say that call came from one of those emergency-only public phones, the kind that don't track regular IDs or caller info. Whoever dialed it in knew exactly how to keep their identity hidden. Because that 911 call came from one of those emergency-only public phones, investigators are now hitting a wall. They can't trace it back to anybody. And for a lot of folks, that right there feels like confirmation. Something shady is going on behind the scenes. Who was that woman on the call? How did she know young Scooter was even at that trap house? And if she did know, then who told her? Or better yet, who sent her? Fans have been digging non-stop trying to connect the dots, but answers are hard to come by. At this point, it's looking like the police don't know any more than the internet sleuths do. Everything's foggy, and until they find out who made that call, the truth about what really went down will stay buried. And then there's Scooter's son. He's not holding back. He believes his father was set up, straight up. According to him, someone wanted young Scooter gone, and they made sure it happened. Who those people are? Nobody knows for sure. But the way rappers have been getting taken out left and right lately, the list of suspects could be anybody. Sources close to the family say Scooter's kids and relatives are torn up. He wasn't just a rapper. He was a father first, a good one. And now, his kids gotta grow up without him. No more birthdays, no more guidance, no more love from dad. That's a heartbreak you don't ever heal from. Meanwhile, fans online are throwing out their own theories. One person said, "Sounds like somebody told him to stop by and pick up his birthday gift to lure him there. And he walked into a different type of agenda." Another wrote, "Why was young Scooter even in a trap house to begin with?" When you level up, you gotta leave that low-level stuff behind. But the truth? Nobody really knows. All we've got are questions, confusion, and pain. Rest in peace to young Scooter, and prayers up for his family. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and see you on next video.